Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to manually pollinate your caladium flowers. But before that, let me tell you that this particular flower that I have is not going to get pollinated. The reason is when you want to do a pollination for your caladium, there has to be two flowers either on the same plant, or probably if you want to do a cross pollination, then there has to be two flowers. For example, there has to be flower A and flower B. So basically you'll have to take the pollens from either one. Let's say if I have to pollinate flower A, so I have to take the pollens from flower B, but I cannot pollinate flower A with its own pollen. So at all given point of time, if you want to have a successful pollination, you need to have two flowers either in the same plant, or maybe if you have another plant or another pot, you can use it from that as well. But there has to be two flowers. Now because I don't have another flower, this is not going to get pollinated. I don't have any other caladium flowers. I'm not very sure when they will bloom or if they are going to bloom in this season, because ideally it's a little bit rare. Usually people in the farms, they have thousands of caladiums, so they have a higher chance of creating hybrids or producing seeds. But I don't have that many caladiums, so this is the only flower that I have, and this is either going to die off, it is not going to survive, it is not going to produce any seeds because there is only one flower right now. But as you've seen, it is quite difficult to do it manually because there are certain things you need to keep in mind. I'll put up the image of how the flower looked earlier. Here, as you can see, the upper portion is the male part of the flower and the lower portion is the female part of the flower. But over here you can see the difference. The flower looks very thin because over here the flower is not ready. In order for the flower to be ready, I'll put up another image. This is how it looks like when the flower is ready to be pollinated. The upper portion will start to expand and open up, thus exposing the male part of the flower. The white strand that you see inside is the male part which has the pollens, and the lower portion, as you can see, it is a little bit puffed, it's expanded, that is the female portion. So if you want to pollinate, if you want to have a successful pollination, there has to be two flowers that should open at the same time in the similar manner. Basically, you see the image A over here. So you need to have another flower, that is flower B, as well in the same position, which means that the female part has to be puffed, has to be expanded in order for you to pollinate them. So it's all about the timings. Now let's say you have flower A and flower B, but the flower B has not opened up. So what you'll have to do is, in this case, you'll have to take the pollens from flower A because it's already open, and you'll have to store those pollens in a refrigerator. And then once the flower B starts to puff, the female part starts to puff, that's when you cut in and you take out the stored pollens from the refrigerator and apply it. I'm going to show it to you in a while how it is done. Now you can see it is a little bit complicated. So how do caladiums get pollinated in nature? Now in nature it is very easy because it is done with the help of a particular beetle. The beetle tends to visit a lot of the flowers, it keeps roaming around, and then it kind of either enters in one of the lower portion, that is this portion, it pushes itself down. You can see there is a little bit of space. So what the beetle will do is it will be roaming around on all of the flowers. By then its legs or the body has been covered with a lot of pollens, and it will eventually enter into one of this female part. You can see this puffed part, it will have an opening, so it enters into it in search of food, and it tends to pollinate the flower. It's said that they send out certain signals. It sends out some smell that tends to attract these beetles. The smell or the fragrance emits from the female part of the flower, and hence that attracts the beetle. The beetle, which is completely covered with the male pollen, will enter inside this puffed part and it will pollinate. Of course, the pollination takes a lot of time. But let's say if I have to pollinate this flower, as I said, I cannot pollinate this one. I need flower A and flower B. Now, because I don't have it, I'll just give you an example how it can be done. So you will have to take a brush, a thin brush, and you will have to collect all of the pollens from the male part of the flower very carefully. You'll have to collect these all. Let's say flower A and flower B. So let's say that this is flower B. You can do it vice versa. Either you can take pollens from flower A, put it into flower B, or you can take pollens from flower B and put it into flower A, any plant. Let's say that I want to pollinate flower A, so I'm going to take the pollens from flower B. I'll collect it all, and now we have to get to the difficult part. So we will have to cut the female part and expose. And now you can see this lower portion, the light yellow, is the female part of the flower. So you have to take the brush that has the pollen and you need to kind of very gently apply it on the yellow part like this, and then you'll need a plastic cover or a net to just protect it from any insects or any bugs that will attack. So you need to cover it completely and then leave it aside. And then once if the pollination is successful, you will see some berries like this. This is how the female part is going to look like. It's going to look like berries, and then you have to wait for them to dry and then take it out, and you'll have to kind of break these berries and the seeds will be present in that. So as you can see, it is a very difficult and a very long process, has to be done with a lot of experience. Probably in future, if I get 2 different flowers, I will definitely try to conduct an experiment and see. As I said, this is my first time. It might not work out the first time or the second time because it requires a little bit of skill and experience, but once you get that hold of it, it's quite easy. But the initial stage is a little bit difficult. So maybe in future, if I happen to get 2 different flowers, and then I can show you the entire process. But this time it's not possible because I don't have any more flowers. I don't know if there are going to be any flowers this season, maybe next season, not very sure. But as I said, you need to have 2 flowers. It cannot be done with only 1 flower. Ideally, with most of our flowering plants, we have the anther, we have the pollens on the anther, and then we have the female part. We just take it and put it on the same flower and we tend to get seeds. But that's not the case with our caladiums. So that's about it, guys. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.